Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Clueless, the TV show. Boy, this takes me back to the good old days of TGIF, ABC Friday nights. It used to stand for Thank God It's Funny, or is it Thank God It's Friday? Probably Thank God It's Friday. See, it's been that long, since the 90s. There used to be so many great shows on Friday night on ABC. Man, so many good comedies. Anyway, Clueless. Now that takes me back. I love this TV show. I thought it was really cute, really quaint, really funny. It was simple, it was simplistic. But sadly, it only ran for 3 seasons. And ironically, it ran only 1 season on ABC and the next 2 seasons on UPN. See, ABC canceled it after the first season. Maybe ratings, I don't know. It was probably ratings. Or maybe the reception, because it's slightly different from the movie. I mean, for the most part, it is similar to the movie. It just feels more. I'll get to it a little bit later. And so when they did like the reruns, they realized, oh crap, this thing is getting like huge ratings. But they had already canceled it, and UPN swooped it on up. Now, when UPN swooped it up, it became still funny, but it was less funny. It was more dramatic in the season 2 and season 3, and it just felt like a different show. It had like a different vibe. It had more like an adult vibe to a mature vibe. And they got rid of a whole bunch of characters, and they replaced Cher's dad for like the 3rd time. Now, Clueless, the show, was inspired by Jane Austen's 1815 novel Emma. And so, yeah, that's something I never knew about until they started doing, like, 20 years later or 30 years later, talking about the movie and stuff like that. Now, the opening theme, Ordinary Girl, which I love that song, is played or performed by China Forbes. You can actually find it on YouTube. Now, Amy Heckerling, the woman who wrote and directed the movie, she actually directed several episodes of, I believe, the first season of the show. However, she didn't stay. So in season 2 and 3, she left. Like I said, season 2 and 3, the tone was different. It was less colorful also in the way they dressed. They dressed it more realistic in the 2nd and 3rd episode, because UPN has a more realistic vibe to it, similar to what they did to Buffy when they made her more realistic in later seasons. Now, for some bizarre reason, ABC decided they were going to show episodes out of order. The television pilot that we saw in the first episode, that is not the original pilot. Another episode is. Why they decided to make this change is bizarre to me. They probably thought the other one that they did show was probably more interesting than the original pilot. Most original pilots aren't really all that like fascinating in TV land, Now, Clueless is pretty much like, it says it right there in the title. It's about a bunch of like group of teens that are basically clueless. They're rich, they're spoiled, they're brats. They live in California, and for the most part, they're airheads. They're nice people, but they're not too bright, and they're very self-absorbed. I guess you'd call like the ringleader, Cher Horowitz. She is pretty much the leader of the group. She's the main star of both the movie and the TV show. In the movie, she's played by Alicia Silverstone, and she's very dumb. Let's put it like that. She's nice and caring, but she's dumb. And she's very stuck up. She's very self-absorbed. She's more outspoken, a little bit more outlandish, but in just a dumb kind of way. There's really no way to put it. And she can't drive. She has a stepbrother, or a former stepbrother she can't stand, but their parents are divorced, but he still lives with them in the mansion. She has a really mean, rude, stubborn father. The dude is mean in the movie. My God. But the thing about Cher is that she's very judgmental. And if you're not like on her level, a posthumous, she will judge you. Especially if you're like an alternative person or like a grunge or a goth, something like that. But she does end up befriending some people that are like that, only so she can slightly kind of change them and stuff. Because she needs people to look and act the way she does. And the thing about her is that throughout the movie, she does go through like some like life changes and some bad stuff that happens. Now, in the TV show, it's slightly different. In the TV show, she is portrayed by a new actress. For whatever reason, Alicia Silverstone just didn't do it. I don't think Alicia does TV shows. She mostly just does movies. She did do a cartoon series once. That's about it. And as of now, I don't think she does anything anymore. But in the TV show, she is now played by Rachel Blanchard. Now, this version of Cher is very soft spoken. She's not loud and clash like the one from the movie. But yeah, this one is very soft spoken. Also, I don't even know if this one says as if as much as the one in the movie. The most iconic line in them all. I know in the pilot, another character says it, but she doesn't say it, which was kind of weird. And I don't even know if she says it throughout the entire series. I can't remember. I have to rewatch it. Now they are up on YouTube. Somebody uploaded them on YouTube. Cause it's been a long time. Like this thing, like the show is not even out on DVD. It's not even on a streaming site, but it's a popular show. But yeah, back to Cher. She's more soft-spoken in the television series, and she's also more caring. She actually cares about people a whole lot more, and not so self-absorbed, and not so selfish. She still doesn't know how to drive. She still can't get along with her former brother-in-law, or stepbrother, what do you call it? No, stepbrother, that's it. She always tries to watch her father's weight because he loves to eat food he shouldn't. And so she's always trying to like watch and make sure he doesn't like have like a heart attack or nothing like that. For the most, she still has the same group of friends, and for the most part, I'm trying to remember because it's been like since the late '90s, and so she will talk to people a lot more, even if they're not on her level. And it's kind of interesting. It's like once a different actress took over, it's just like she didn't try to emulate what the movie actress did. She tried to make the role her own. And I can appreciate that. But at that same time, people wanted to share from the movie. And when it comes to me, which is my favorite? I really don't know. Because it's like, the movie was a one-off thing. But the TV show is an actual sequel. It's not a reboot. It's an actual sequel. And so, but I'm more used to the television show. In fact, I think I watched the television show before I ever watched like the movie. And so I'm just more used to the Rachel actress than I am Alicia. But I will say Alicia made it more, like you could tell she was more ditzy, she was more comedic. Whereas the TV show one, even though she's still not all that smart, she still has more common sense than the movie version of her. And so I guess that could just be a sign of character development, you know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of people were not happy with the replacement. I like the replacement. I like the actress. Since this show, I have been a fan. Now, this actress also, she was on, what was that show called? Are You Afraid of the Dark? And she's been in a whole lot of other stuff because she's a Canadian actress. And she was in the movie Sugar and Spice. God, I love that movie. It's funny, when she was in Sugar and Spice, she acted more like Cher from the movie than she did in the TV show. But I do appreciate her trying to make the role all unique and her own because, she is now, she was the new face of that character. And so one of the things I hate the most when people try to compare both the shares, they did an excellent job. They're just different in how they portray it. One's more soft-spoken, while the other one's more charismatic and everything. Like Alicia Silverstone came back about 30 years later to do a Rakuten commercial, right, with Alyssa and everything. And so they did not miss a beat. And you can tell, because Alyssa has more of that charismatic valley girlness, whereas Rachel has more of that adorableness and like lightheartedness and like, precocious and everything. And it's just like they're two completely different people playing two completely different roles. I like the fact that she tried to make it her own. She didn't try to completely copy the movie. But then again, you have to copy the movie to a certain degree to make fans happy. And for the most part, a lot of people are happy with her performance and stuff. I know I am. I mean, she's been Cher longer than Alyssa has and stuff. Like if they were to ever make like a remake or a movie, most likely they will go with that of Alyssa, because I don't think Alyssa's doing much right now and stuff. And so like it would be great if like Rachel would to have some other type of role in there, maybe like a cousin or something like that, or like, oh, better yet, a sister she didn't know she had. See, that's the movie right there, man. Like make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And so I really hate when I see people argue, oh, which one's better and stuff like that. You just have to take it for whatever it is. Oh my God, dude, one of the most hilarious episodes ever. When Cher got that hideous haircut from like this celeb like hairdresser person. Bronson Pincoat or something like that. Her expression was like the die for. And that's why I love the Rachel actress. Like a lot of people don't like her and they compare her like so much to Lisa Silverstone. But I think she did a really good job all in all. And so she's just different. She brought something different and new to the table. I remember there was one episode, it was pretty deep kinda. And this really shows the involvement of Cher. Like, thing about Cher is that like she's Miss Popular, you know what I'm saying? And so in the episode, she's partnered with this super genius geek type person. And the thing is that like this like geeky person, even though Cher, because Cher is like, the big social, like, ladder of the school and everything, and this person is not. And so she befriends that person, of course, doing the project, and she realized something. This person is actually pretty cool and everything. And so once the project thing is like over with and stuff, she debates whether or not she should stay friends with this girl. And, of course, we don't never see this character no more. But it's one of those things that evolves the character of Cher. Just like in the movies, it took a long while to evolve her towards the end of the movie. But this Cher is not as stuck up as the one in the movie. Oh, my bad. The person she became partners with and friends with, the nerdy, geeky person, she does become friends with her at the end. And she does recur back in the second season. And so, like... But the thing about when she came back is she dumbs herself down to like, get somebody to like her. And I totally forgot that character came back. Oh, and I remember the Linda Cardellini episode because she appeared in this. I think she was like a punk gothic type girl, but she was like a punk rocker type girl, something like that. And she was like the new girl at school, right? And her and Cher could not get along for like nothing. And she challenged Cher to a fight. And I remember Dion was trying to help her fight, talking about just do what my brothers taught me. You block with this hand and you punch with this hand. We never met Dion's brothers and stuff. I think in that same episode, I think they go to jail for something. I remember them in jail and then Cher still scared the girl. But then they later, make up and become friends and stuff. I remember there was an episode, it was early in the first season, like Cher dates the dude who plays Spider-Man Spider-Man the animated series. And so like he also was the Prince dude in The Little Mermaid. And so they want to go out to like a jazz club, stuff like that. But her father had like a curfew on her. So of course she's trying to like, disobey that and like do what she wants. But that was so cool that the Spider-Man dude was in that. Now, in that one really tragic episode, I forgot the name of that episode, but it has the word road in it, and it's a season 3 episode towards the middle. And this is the drinking and driving episode. Basically, just give a quick synapse is that Cher is dating this guy, and this guy is like unbelievable. He's like the nicest, sweetest guy she's ever met, and he's kind to her friends. He's literally Mr. Perfect. However, Mr. Perfect is at a party hanging out with the rest of the other gang, and he decides he's going to start drinking. And of course, Murray decides he's going to start drinking too. And Sean decides he's going to start drinking. Oh, by the way, NSYNC actually guest stars in this episode. And so, Murray, Sean, and Cher's boyfriend are all in the car, and Cher's boyfriend decides he's going to drive because he had less to drink than the other two were just like plastered and stuff. And so Amber went off trying to like hunt down NSYNC and stuff like that. So Cher is having like a dream sequence where her boyfriend is proposing to her, and then she gets a call from the hospital. It's Murray, and he said, something tragic has happened. Basically what happened was this. They got into a car accident where I think the car slammed or wrapped around a tree or something like that. Murray was okay, but Sean was extremely banged up, and so was Cher's boyfriend. And he was telling them and everything. He don't understand how it happened. It happened all fast. The boyfriend dude, he barely had anything to drink, so he was the less buzzed out of all of them. But still, they end up getting to a crash. And so when we see Sean and the boyfriend the next morning, they're okay. Sean is really banged up with a sling on his arm and a bruise on his head, but Cher's boyfriend is still laying in the bed. He's a little bit more banged up than Sean and stuff. He suffered a pretty bad head concussion and stuff. And so, him and Cher are talking. He talked about how much he cares about her and stuff like that, and how stupid he was for drinking and driving. Then later on that night, Cher gets another call, and something happened. Cher's boyfriend died. And I remember thinking to myself, same as Cher, like, how did he die? The dude was like totally okay. And he was fine. He was talking, he could, he was aware, and it's like, how did he die? He had some internal bleeding in his head that I guess got overlooked or something like that. And he ended up dying from that. And Cher is totally heartbroken. She's like, I think her dad and Dee was like holding her as she's crying and sobbing. And of course, the life lesson is you don't drink and drive. Even if you have like a little alcohol, it can still really, really badly affect you and stuff. And I just remember that was just like a huge wake up call for me. I was very shocked. Like, I just couldn't believe the dude was like dead, because he was like literally just alive, you know what I'm saying? And it really makes you think and stuff about life and consequences. And when you think you're okay, you're not okay and stuff. Ironically, the actor who played Adam, Cher's boyfriend, his real name is Breck Wilson. And in 2017, he actually died in real life. The police believe that he died due to intoxication because he fell from a construction site. They said he was like an alcoholic and he was arrested multiple times. And holy crap, dude, like, that's just like insane, because he played this character where he died from drinking alcohol and got in an accident. Holy crap. Now, her best friend Dee, or Devon, is played by the idiot Stacey Dash. And so, like, her character was not recast, and it's the same actress from the movie. And her personality is still the exact same, probably just 10 times more. She's still rude to her boyfriend Murray when they were actually dating. They actually break up in a TV show for a very long time, but then they get back together towards the end. I will say when it comes to her character, she's slightly more evolved than she was in the movie. Um, and she's still stuck up. She's still posh. She's still rich. But I just felt like there was a slight bit of like evolvement with her character, the where it's kind of like, see, it's been such a long time. I probably should have rewatched this series before like I reviewed it. But one thing I like to do is I like to recall things from memory. But the bad thing is, since it's been so long and I barely watched any reruns, like my memory is shot, man. And this is like very surprising for me. Cause normally I can remember shows from like back in the day. Like God, I was able to remember the Silver Surfer cartoon and the Puzzle House and Teen Knight Rider and some other show I talked about too, Relic Hunter. But for yeah, this show, like I'm starting to remember a little bit more now, but I can't remember anything like concrete. But I do remember her and Mary broke up. I remember her and Cher are still friends. She actually says as if in the pilot, and which was kind of odd. You would think Cher would say that. I know she fights big time with Amber in the TV show, which was not really present in the movie because I think Amber, while Amber was in the movie, she wasn't necessarily part of the clique. She was doing like her own thing with another group of people and stuff. Okay, let me emphasize a little bit more. So, like, when it comes to Dion, her and Murray, just like I said in the movie, you know what I'm saying? They could not always get along. They like each other, they love each other, but they couldn't really get along. Now, in the show, Murray had more of an out there, precocious personality, doing things that like she didn't like, and he found out that her and Sean dated one time. Well, when they broke up and everything, that's what it was. It was just they were broken up for the longest time. They still remained friends, and they still dated like other people. And when they went and dated other people, it felt natural and stuff. But like I said, towards the end and everything, they were talking about like doing it, which is weird because in the movie it's implied that they actually did it and stuff like that. And so this is why sometimes I think the show is a different continuity than that of the movie. Now, Dion was very much the diva type. Like, she was your classic 90s black girl. She was loud, she was proud, she would get in your face, and like, she'll tell you how it is. But she was very fierce, you know what I'm saying? And so later on, about I think in the third season or so, they tried to make her nicer and everything because she could be a bit of a pain. I still don't like the actress who plays her. She's black, but I forgot what she said. But basically, she disrespected black people and all this other crap. And then people online all like, "Oh, if you don't like black people, get back all those awards that you won in like black movies and stop doing black movies and stuff." Because seriously, if she don't like black people, why in the world she keep starring in so many of the movies and stuff? And so it's like because of that reason, I just like could not stand her, which is a shame because she always seemed like she played such a interesting, cool character, but deep down inside, she's just a stink butt and everything. So her boyfriend Murray, he is played by actor Donald Falson. And just like with Dion, like he is the exact same way he was in the movie and played by the same character. Only difference now is that he gets his braces off, and when he gets his braces off, I believe that happened in the second season, maybe, or happened to the first. He becomes a new man. He now thinks he's all that. And because the women are now checking him out because he no longer has the hardware. And I think that's what causes them to break up because she doesn't like all the attention he's getting from other girls and stuff. He's still the cool dude. He's still the comedic dude. He's still dumb. Sean is now like his best friend. Wasn't in the movie because Sean only had like a cameo. But yeah, he's more of the same. He does take up drinking, I believe, like I said before, towards the end of the episode and gets in that car wreck. and then he's supposed to move off to someplace else. But for the most part, he is still the exact same guy. He's a little arrogant. He loves Sean to like death, and he loves Dion, to the time when they're dating and stuff. He doesn't really get along with Amber only because she doesn't really like D. Just to add on a little bit more here to Murray, Murray is a lot more outgoing in like the show. He is basically the good boy who's a bad boy and stuff like that. And so he wants to do everything bad and have a great time. Messing around with whoever, checking out whoever, ways he shouldn't be checking them out. Like, especially when him and Dion break up. Sean is his running buddy and they do everything together. And he's a lot more of an interesting character in the show than he is in the movie, because he's more fleshed out. That's why I'm glad this show exists. A lot of people's all like, oh, they wish this show never existed. Why not? We got so much levity and so much evolvement for all these characters and stuff. And when him and Dion break up, he starts exploring other things and other avenues. And of course, they have some really good topics about how, if you date, your friend's lover back in the day, you should probably tell them that or something like that, and also drinking and driving, how wrong it is and stuff, because they used him to show those type of things that you shouldn't do. I think that might have been a drug episode, but I'm not 100% sure. In the movie, he was a bit more arrogant and stuff. Like, he was your typical 90s guy, calling his girlfriend a woman and bossing her around and stuff like that. But in the show, he's a whole lot better character, even though he's still that bad boy type. Now, his best friend, Sean, is played by the same dude who made the cameo in the movie. And he's played by Sean Holland. One interesting thing about him, he was a recurring character in season 1, but became a main cast member in season 2 and 3. And he's just the dopey best friend who goes along with anything Murray says, but he's slightly more smarter because Murray's more lazier. In the pilot episode, he failed his test, and Murray's like, oh man, I copied off you, but Murray had a better grade, and he doesn't understand how. And so then he gets some bad advice, and then he fails his test big time, and he's just like a dope. He's a nice guy, he's funny and everything. He's a comedic relief big time. And I'm so glad he got a bigger role in the TV show, because he is so funny. And I don't know why he had such a small role in the movie and stuff. But in the movie, he acted more cool in a stylish kind of way. Where in the movie, he's just a big goof and stuff. Amber. My God, Amber. She is something else. She's played by actress Eliza Donovan, and she's the same actress from the movie, but she has a much bigger role in this. She's now part of the group, and she is mean, she's rude, she's a fiery redhead. She says exactly what's on her mind. She loves money to death. She loves being the cool kid. She does not like people who are not cool, and she hates D, but she hates Cher as well. She wants everything Cher has, especially when Cher family loses their money in their home and she takes it and stuff. In the movie, like I said, I don't remember much about her in the movie. She kind of did her own thing, and she wasn't really part of the group, whereas now she is totally full-on part of the group, which is ironic because they all don't get along with her and she don't get along with them. Cher's dad, Mel. In the TV show, in the first season, he's played by a different actor. And he's a lot more heavier set now. But instead of being extremely mean and rude and hateful like he was in the movie, he's more stern in the first season, and he gives more advice and stuff to Cher. He's not mean, he's just stern. Now in the second and the third episode, he's played by another actor again. He got recast for some reason, and the new actor is a lot slimmer. Also, the new actor he's very soft spoken, and his demeanor is completely different. Like, he's a different character. He's no longer mean. He's like super nice and understanding and caring, which is kind of weird. Her former stepbrother Josh is still in this, but he's only in the first season. After they went to UPN, they totally like wrote his character off. He's still the same way he is in the movie, but in the movie he's more eco green. Uh, he's more of a hipster. He's more like political and stuff in the movie. Whereas the TV show, he's just like an all around nice guy. He still believes in the stuff he believes in, just not as gun ho as he is in the movie. And as for a relationship with him and Cher, that is non-existent in the TV show. It's still weird that Paul Rudd showed up in like the show to play a college student who dates Cher. And so, but he of course is older than her. When he finds out how old she is, he ain't too thrilled about that and stuff. It's just weird how they did it. This is why I think it's a different continuity than that of the movie. Plus, because Dion acted like she didn't know Sean in the movie, yet they dated on like the show back in the day. Now, this show has a very unique Sabrina the Teenage Witch connection. I don't remember ever seeing Melissa Joan Hart on this show. Maybe, well, wait. I think I did. It was like a cameo towards the end, because they used to always do end credit scenes and stuff, just like Sabrina. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sabrina did show up in the end credit scene. And then what's unique about that is that Melissa Joan Hart was technically supposed to play Cher in the TV show, which I don't know how the world she was going to do that, because I believe at that same time Sabrina was on. But here's another connection. 3 of the clueless stars actually starred in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Eliza Donovan, who plays Amber, she went on to play, I forgot the character she goes on to play, but she went on to play in Sabrina the Teenage Witch when it went over to the WB, when Sabrina went to college, and she was one of like Sabrina's like frenemies and stuff. The dude who plays Murray, he played one of Sabrina's love interests in the 3rd season, I believe, of Sabrina. Might have been 4th, but it was the 3rd. I think he was like a warlock or something like that. And the dude who plays Josh, he went on to play Sabrina's love interest when she went off to college in the WB, when the show went to the WB and stuff. So it's just kind of cool how like it has like all these like Sabrina clueless like connections and everything. And here's another strange Sabrina Teenage Witch connection. Okay, the actor who played the 3rd male in season 2 and 3 of Clueless, he later on played Sabrina's father, who replaced the original actor and stuff. It's just ironic, all these like Sabrina connections. Now, the character of Christian, the gay dude from the movie, he was completely absent from the TV show, probably because his character was gay. And you know how TV shows in the 90s were back then. Now, Mr. Hall and Mrs. Geist, they're now married, just like in the movie, and they're in the show, but they're only in the 1st season. And they got dropped after the 2nd season for reasons unknown. I guess the show wanted to go less adult route and more of just the teen route, and less humor and stuff when they went to UPN, because UPN was a little bit more serious, like serious comedy. So yeah, they got written out. Now they still act the same way they do in the movie. He's still the nerdy teacher. She's still the messy like counselor lady. Now what's interesting is that in the movie there was this one teacher that Cher had, and she was played by this one actress. However, in the TV show, she was played by the same actress, but they renamed her something completely different, who played her coach. And it just didn't really make no sense. I guess it was probably like a copyright issue, similar to the whole Tom Paris Star Trek Voyager thing, where the dude who played him did play a character very similar to that in Star Trek Next Generation, but they couldn't use that character of Locarno because they would have to pay the rights to the creator and stuff. Ty, she's in this, but she's only in like 4 episodes in the first season. After that, she got completely written off before the season even ended. And she's played by a completely new actress. And the new actress acts nothing like the one from the movie. This character is more shy, she's more nerdy, she's more out there in the way she looks in terms of like alternative wise, a tiny bit of punk rocker, but mostly in that like, but she's in that stuck up valley girl kind of way. Um, but she is still like that outcast, but she's completely different than what she was in the movie. In the movie, she was played by Brittany Murphy. And man, I miss Brittany Murphy so much. Like when she died, man, that really hit me hard. Same way it hit me hard as Stan Lee and Daphne from TNA Wrestling. Sadly, Daphne has passed away by committing suicide. I wish people could have got her help. But yeah, the Ty in the movie, she's more like she's goofier, she's sillier, she's more like grungier. She's more she has a big expressive like personality. Where in the TV show she's more shy. I think it's really strange how Brittany Murphy played Jasmine in the TV show, but played Ty in the movie. And it's like people know what she looks like. I mean, they tried to change her appearance a little, but like we know who she is. That was just like weird and stuff. Now, in the misplaced pilot, the one that is not supposed to be the pilot, it's the one titled As If a Girl Reach Should Exceed Her Grasp. Now, that deals with Ty liking a guy in her class. And the guy is supposedly the youngest dude in their class. And he's a little bit of an immature, smart guy who loves to draw. He's like a big dork. And he basically is like the Travis character from the movie. Now, this Ty, like I said before, has been recast. And she's a little bit more of a rocker, hipster, alternative type girl. And she doesn't have the personality of the movie, like, at all. She's slightly dopey and everything, but, you know, Cher is still her friend. And so, at some point in time, Cher gets called into Mrs. Geist's office, and Miss Geist wants her like to be the new advice column person because the girl who originally did it is having like her 50 million like nose job or something like that, and it's called Miss Buzzline. And Cher is very honored, and you know she'll do it. Now doing this, Cher is dating like a dude, and so in a way, Cher is giving like all this advice and stuff like that, and people are actually loving it, and they're actually improving their lives. Like they're becoming better social people, they're dressing better, they are interacting with their loved ones better, and so she thinks she's doing like a really great job, so she ups her ante. Well, she ups her ante a little too far to where now everything is backfiring. Now she's giving bad advice to people. People are breaking up with their the ones they're dating. People are not studying for their tests. Like there's a big exam coming up, and Sean and Murray, they like, well, Murray copies off of Sean, and Sean got like an F on his first test, and Murray got a D. Well, for the next test, Cher's advice was to like not study that night and get a good night's sleep and eat a hearty breakfast in the morning. So Sean does that and he ends up failing the test. And he's like, I don't understand how I failed. Like I slept really good last night. I had a great breakfast. And then Murray's all like, did you have orange juice? And he's like, freshly squeezed. And stuff. And so it backfires even more because the guy that Ty likes, he's no longer interested in her. Also, the dude that Cher likes, who's supposed to take her to the dance, he ends up dumping her because of the advice that she gave on Buzzline. So Cher's like all devastated and like almost in tears and stuff like that. And then her dad gives her some pretty good like solid advice. And about her what's his name, Josh, the former like stepbrother or something like that. they kind of like get into like a bit of an argument, a little bit here and there. He's still his like ecocentric hippie like type and stuff like that, but he's a little bit more laid back, and he's not as like blunt as the one from the movie. So basically, Cher is trying to get like Ty and that one dude back together because he doesn't really want nothing to do with her no more and stuff. And so she tries talking to him, but that doesn't work. So then she tries the whole, okay, let's try making him jealous. So she ends up sending Ty a bunch of flowers at school. He sees that, and he doesn't really care, but he cares only a little bit. So then she talks to him back again, and then he has like a change of heart, and then he ends up dating Ty again. Well, Cher's dude's completely like dumped her, so she ends up taking like Josh to like the little dance thing, and then we even see the girl with the plastic surgery nose and stuff. And Cher realizes that people really shouldn't give advice if they don't really know what they're talking about and meddling like in the lives of other people. And just because you're opinionated, don't mean you always have to give your opinion. And so she learned like a really really good like life lesson in that episode. And it was a nice, charming episode. It was cute and everything. That's how like comedy shows are supposed to be. They're supposed to be like cute, funny, and you're supposed to like learn like something. It's not supposed to be just like slap, like silly, stupid. Now in season 3, the Halloween episode, the one entitled "Scream Murray Scream," the one that's based off of like the Scream movies. That's a hilarious two-parter episode. Basically, it starts off with Dion and Cher. They're like getting dressed, and let's see, Dee, she is Ginger Spice, and Cher is, God, I forgot, she's somebody who's connected to Bill Clinton. Something bad he did to her. Some woman. God, I can't remember her name. She has the glasses and kind of like the grayish hair. She's either her or she Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's one of those two. But I think she's the other, Janet Reno. I think she's Janet Reno. So anyway, this is when the show started taking a little bit more of a serious dive and everything. There was less slap crazy humor and less colorful and more like the UPN-ish type stuff. And so they're there and they're getting those like prank calls of, what's your favorite scary movie type line, and I'm gonna kill you, this and that. So Dee, she thinks it's Murray spying on them. And then all of a sudden he shows up in the room, and both her and Cher are freaked out because they're all like, oh God, it's not him. So then they keep getting the calls, and they turn the lights off, and they're crawling around the floor. And then, they eventually find out it's Sean pranking them because Murray set Sean up to prank them. Dee and Cher are like pissed, and Murray's like, oh, whatever, it's just a prank, blah, blah, blah. And it's all in good humor and fun. And he does this like all the time, but he really upped his game this time to where it really freaked them out. So anyway, throughout the entire episode, all these strange murders start happening and stuff. People are getting stabbed, there's blood everywhere, and everybody's freaking out. But they're trying to find out who the killer is. Cher is doing her, she's guessing every main and recurring character, and so people eventually just like dropping like left and right. And then the killer outfit, the slasher dude, has a really cool outfit. It's like, it looks like the Scream outfit, but it's like a red hood cloak type thing. I think it's like a maskless face, just like red. And it's just like really cool looking and stuff. And so in the next episode, the killings are still happening, and Murray's all freaking out, Cher's all freaking out, Dee's all freaking out. Sean ends up getting, I think, like killed or something like that. I believe Amber ends up getting killed. And then towards the end, it turns out that Sean faked like his death, and he's actually the killer, and he's pissed at Murray because he's tired of being his lackey. He said Murray doesn't appreciate him. Murray doesn't even know his middle name and everything. And so, Dee's all like, Sean, we love you. And he's all like you love a dog. And then, so like, as he's about to kill like Dee, In comes in like Cher and Amber with two guns and just start like blasting him away in the Scream 2 fashion towards the end of that movie. And so as Sean's like dying, he calls out for Murray's name. And so Murray starts to go towards him. And Dee's like, no, don't go to him. But he goes to him anyway because, Sean's on his like last dying breath and stuff. And so, like, he ends up grabbing Murray by the neck and start choking him, talking about, gotcha, 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 gotcha. Basically, what happened is Dee got so sick and tired of him pulling pranks that she decided to get Sean in on the action and pull a huge prank on Murray and stuff. And, of course, Murray learned, like, it's not funny to prank people and everything and all this other crap. But during this time, him and Dee was still broken up. Now, towards the second season finale, I forget what exactly happens. I think Mel had some bad business advice, and he got like tied up in like something or another, and it caused Cher and all them, or caused Cher and him to lose all their money. It was even to the point when they lost their money. In the third season premiere, I believe we see like Cher. I don't know. Her and her dad, they're either living like in a really like poor environment. They're either living like in a mobile home, or they're like living on a farm, or they're living somewhere because they literally lost all their money and they had to like adapt to like common people type life. Amber was like, living in their mansion and all this and stuff. And so yeah, they was in some country part of town, and then when her friends like Dee and Murray and Sean went to go visit, she's all like, "Oh, it's not that bad," and it's like really country style living. And I remember she said like, "Oh, there's some type of like country festival." Like how them southern country like festivals are, like it's kind of like a hotel, like so, like Miss Pickle pageant or something like that, and they're just like, ew, this is like pathetic and everything. And then she ends up falling for like a farm boy and stuff, I remember. But then towards the end, they found out what happened and how they lost their money, and they was able to get it back. And of course, Amber had to move out, and she wasn't all thrilled about that. I remember towards the end, man, there was this one tragic episode. One of her friends from back in the day came, I think, back. Um, no, there was a friend that came back from the back. Yeah, there was one friend of hers, a female. I forgot her name, but she started hanging out with sharing them again. But then it seems that she went down a dark path. And it's at a point where I believe she gets Cher like arrested and stuff like that. I forget what happens because, like I said, it's been a long time. But that was just like a really unique episode where we see Cher of all people being arrested. But it was like a really deep moment when her friend, she realized, went down like a bad path and stuff. I've already talked about like, one of the Christmas episodes and a Valentine episode, but there was another Valentine episode that I didn't talk about only because I hate the subject matter. It's where Amber is about to marry like this older man. He's about like 80 something. First, he mistaken her for his wife because the younger picture of his wife looks like Amber. So Amber finds out he's super rich, and of course she wants to marry him. Their gang has decided, yo, you can't do this. This is wrong. All this other stuff. She don't care. But then both her and the old man come to their senses and everything. It just wouldn't work out. So they found his original wife that he lost and everything. And so they got married and stuff. Back then they had some big time names that weren't that big yet. Like in the last season, like Gabrielle Union showed up. That was around the time she was starting to like explode in like movies and stuff. I think it was before Bring It On and everything. And this is the Moesha crossover. And so like basically it's like prom night, and I think Murray wanted Sean's date. and it was Niecy from Moesha, Cher Jackson's character, and also Lamont Bentley from Moesha guest starred in there as well, because they were both on UPN, and so they was doing like the whole crossover thing, and so I God, it's been a long time since I saw that episode. Now, at some point in time in the past, Clueless, the TV show, was reran on the Teen Nick channel or the N channel, whatever you want to call it. But it no longer is there. Also, sadly, you can't even find this on streaming. Like, I don't know why. It's such a classic. But pretty much almost every episode is uploaded on YouTube. YouTube. Thank goodness for YouTube. And you know what's really interesting about this show? This show, it had like really unique diversity, because like a lot of the main cast was either Jewish or black, and this was like a white teen comedy, and you never see that, and it was just like so unique because Cher and her father is supposed to be Jewish. I don't know if the Rachel character is Jewish or not. She might be white. She might be Jewish. I don't know. But yeah, it's like Cher. The character Cher is Jewish. Her father is Jewish. Um, and then of course Dee, Sean, and Murray, they're black. And it's like three main black leads in a white television show. And it's just so ironic. And then not only that, but I think, okay, Eliza, I don't know what Eliza is. She might be white, so she might be the only white person in the show. And then of course Josh, I think he's white. And it's just or David who plays him. And it was just like, yeah, it was just like this show was very diverse in a time when there wasn't supposed to be diversity in TV. Well, there was supposed to be diversity in TV. You just didn't always see it. And because, yeah, there was just like your typical white ABC comedy. And it had all these diverse people as the main cast. And that was like really unique. I mean, even take the teacher, Mr. Hall. I believe he might be Jewish in real life. And the lady who played his wife, I think she might be Jewish in real life and stuff. And it was just so unique to see something like that. Now, there were talks of a Clueless TV show reboot, but it was supposed to be on the Peacock network. However, plans fell through, and now that's not going to happen. It would have been interesting to see what this new reboot would have been like, because this show, or the older show in the movie, followed times of the late 90s when clothes looked a certain way, people talked a certain way, and it was kind of like an over imagination of like rich people lifestyle. So it's kind of curious now to see what the show would have looked like in today's world, in modern times, in the way modern TV is now and stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad they didn't, because they probably would have ruined it, because that's just how reboots are. So I'm actually kind of glad they didn't do it. But for the most part, like I said, this was a nice, quaint, cute little show. It pretty much just dealt with the ramifications of whatever Cher was doing. Like, something be going on at school and Cher wanted to get involved, and there'd be other characters, and she'll make certain decisions that she felt was right, but then they end up being wrong. And then so she'll get like very emotional about it, and then somehow she'll like fix it towards the end of the episode. That's the only parts that kind of like bug me, is that they resolve things so quickly, and when she dwells on it, it's only like for a brief moment, and then it's like, oh, I have a way to figure this out. But for the most part, her moral support is her father. He's the one who truly counsels her throughout the show and gives her great advice, and that's how she's able to like fix her solutions and her problems. Her friends are there for comedic relief, to help build certain stories, and like help escalate certain situations, because they're just like goofballs and stuff like that. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.